So you're worth negative 86,503. You're far behind in life.
Yeah.
0 for retirement, full of credit card debt, massive amount of student loans, and no diploma.
I was just trying to keep up with everything and everyone, spending it on restaurants, on clothes, on food and drinks.
On credit card that you're still owning money on. What the heck, man?
It was Prada.
You're wearing Prada, but you can't even afford it. 30% interest. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? My name is Romain, and for the past 10 years, I've been on a quest to tackle America's toughest personal finance situations. Leveraging my Ivy League master degree and personal experience, I've found solutions for what seems impossible. In 1 year, you can completely be in a different spot. Are we ready to take action?
Yes.
Will this be the one I cannot solve? Let's see what happens. Let's look at your profile. You are 33 years old, you're originally from Costa Rica, you currently live in Los Angeles, and at some point, you were one of the hosts on Disney Channel speaking to millions. Since then, you've been trying to survive off side hustle, and today, looking at your financial situation, from chilling to Mayday, you rated yourself as yikes. Fernando, what's going on?
I was on Disney Channel when I was 22 years old in front of millions of people. I got to live my dreams. It was a dream come true. I was making thousands of dollars a day. It was everything you could ever want. And I just did not know what to do with that money. I didn't know how to take advantage of everything. And once that contract ended, I went into a deep depression. I was almost homeless. I relied heavily on a lot of friends to just help me stay afloat because I just didn't know what to do to make money and to have money or anything like that.
What a interesting walk of life at such a young age, coming with so much money that was in some ways mismanaged. We'll be speaking about it, but there is something that you just mentioned that's interesting. You start your salary on the TV broadcast at how much per day?
At $700 a day.
Which is good. At 22, you're starting something.
Not bad. And by the end of that year, I was getting $3,000 a day.
$3,000 a day?
Yeah.
For doing what?
Throughout the day, it could be 6 hours, it could be 12 hours. And you just get a script, you kind of memorize it because it was an interview style. So you didn't have to do it verbatim, but there was key points you had to hit. And you just had fun with it.
And so you're making it. You're bringing $3,000 a day at just 22, 23.
Yeah.
How many days would you be working per month?
Maybe 2 or 3 days a month.
That's still $9,000.
That's not bad. It's pretty good.
So you have all this money coming through. What happens?
I spent it all just trying to keep up with this idea of what it was like to live in Los Angeles.
And be kind of a celebrity at the time.
Yeah, I didn't think of it like that, but I was hanging out with really cool people, and all of my friends were very wealthy, and so I was, or at least they seemed like they were very wealthy. Whether they were or not, I have no idea. But I was just trying to keep up with everything and everyone, and so I was just spending it on restaurants, on clothes, on food and drinks and events, and everything was just so expensive, and the money just doesn't last if you're just spending and spending and spending and spending.
That's right. You pretty much were getting that check, spending it pretty much right away.
Right away.
So that's, as you mentioned, kind of lasted for so long.
Yeah.
You were making big bucks, but then a letter comes in the mail and pretty much it's the end.
Right.
End of a natural contract. But what happens for you at the time then?
I lost everything. My relationship ended because of a lot of reasons. I went into a deep, dark depression because I didn't have my dream job anymore. I had no money. I was cat sitting for friends or couch surfing, and I was practically unhoused. I was practically homeless. I didn't have my own place. I couldn't afford my own place. It was by the kindness of my friends that I was able to stay in Los Angeles.
But at the same time, what you also found to discover is that, well, all your friends were kind of continuing their lifestyle. You couldn't really keep up anymore.
Right.
And so you found yourself kind of alone.
Completely. And that's very much how I felt, just like alone. Because like even though like I was staying with my friends, I couldn't do the things that they were doing. And sometimes they would pay for me and whatever, but like that also is weird, and it can really affect a friendship if like someone's always paying for you. Like that's not fair. It's nice, but like it can get uncomfortable sometimes.
So what did you feel at that time, coming from, hey, I can bowl, I can do anything, to, hey, can I sleep on your couch tonight? What's that thought for you?
It just was a really dark, depressive time.
And that lasted for about 2 years.
Yeah, 2017, 2018, those were some dark times for me. Yeah.
But then at some point, you kind of shine from the ashes.
Yeah.
Because you're getting a new deal that kind of brings you back on track, but you still have not yet fully recovered or found your footprint since that moment. And it's been years now.
Right.
How do you feel?
I got this opportunity to do like a play, which was amazing. It got a lot of press. Everyone loved it. We were nominated for a bunch of awards. That was great. I was making money again. It was amazing. But at the same time, this time I knew that it wasn't going to last. So I was like, how do I find other ways to like not fall back into that depression? How do I find a way to like enjoy this moment for what it is, because I should still enjoy the great stuff that's happening, but like I'm just terrified that like I'm not going to have anything else after this again.
And for you to survive while you're doing side hustles, and then COVID hits, the strike and everything,
Yeah.
you're relying on unemployment,
Right.
but also primarily on credit cards.
Yes.
And credit cards, as you will see, guys, we are working with quite a large, substantial amount of debt on credit cards, student loans. And so today you're presenting yourself in kind of a yikes, mayday position.
Yeah.
How do you feel at your core about your finances? Like when you think about finances, what are your 2 cents?
Not great. I feel okay as long as my rent is covered. And it is for right now. But if it ever is not again, then I'm afraid I'm going to spiral.
All right. Well, let's see actually if that spiral is justified. Now we transition together into our next segment on the show, your income and your assets. A brief apartheid to share with you an insight that I think we'll find important. When I started taking my business seriously, there is something that I immediately understood, is that I needed to have eyes on my finances and understand where money is going. And to do that, I decided to look at different business banking partners for my small business. And one that really sparked to me was Relay. And it was not just about having a business banking account, it was about having clarity. I could exactly see how much I was making, how much I was spending, and pretty much know where I was heading. With Relay, I set up multiple checking accounts, one for income, one for taxes, one for expenses, and I felt that I finally had a system, not just a mess. With that structure, I just felt so much more confident in my ability to make a decision for the business. So if you're building a business or a side hustle, don't wait to get organized. Start today with Relay by checking out the link below. Thank you so much for being a preferred partner on the channel. And now let's get back to our content. You've been an open book, providing me with everything, which I appreciate. But let's speak numbers. You are 33 years old today, working side hustles, and also collecting unemployment. How much per year would you say you're making right now?
$22,500.
So that brings you at about 1,600 net or so per month. Would you say that's right?
Yeah, that's about right.
Okay.
Yeah.
When we compare that in the United States, for your age bracket between 25 and 34, the median, 50% make more, 50% make less, is at 50,572.
Yeah.
So living in LA, no longer the dream, surviving, I would say, at pretty much half of that. We'll see how you're actually making good use of that money. Any other form of income?
No, I mean, if I'm like in dire straits, I'll call my parents, but they're not like rich themselves.
All right, let's see how much you have on your bank account. So you pretty much have 2 types of assets. You have a checking account here with a balance of $105. You also have a saving account with a balance of $540. any other form of assets? Maybe like a retirement plan?
No.
Any like market investments?
Nope.
When you had that money, you never thought about putting anything on the side?
I didn't know. I always thought that like that was something I would do later.
Yeah, that's generally what often happens, guys. Live below your means. That brings together right now your total assets at $645. With not much to speak on your assets, let's speak now about your expenses. So, you're living in Los Angeles. How much do you pay for rent?
$1,000.
How do you pay $1,000 for rent?
I live in a really big house with 9 other gay guys.
Okay.
It's an 11-bedroom house, 8 bathrooms. I have my own bathroom. It's a loft room. I have my own rooftop. Like, it's a really great setup. We all get along. No one's like the catty kind of whatever. And like, I'm the musical theater one and the partier. So like, if anything, I'm the annoying one.
Okay, so $1,000. I mean, in a shared room, that's a pretty good deal. That brings, though, your housing expense against your income at 60%.
Right.
We like it to be below 28, but my friend, you're pulling 1,600.
Exactly.
So it's not like we can ask for something magical. It's not Disney. Joke apart, let's transition to the rest of your expenses. So, I'm not seeing any car assets.
No. I had a car. It got repossessed after Disney because I couldn't afford it anymore.
What were you driving?
It was like a Nissan, like Altima Nissan Versa, something like that.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy?
Nothing crazy.
What has been the thought, though, behind not having a car or any means of transportation? Because, my friend, I'm going to tell you, you're spending it on the side in amounts that are tough to justify. Hundreds of dollars on Lyft and Uber. We'll be speaking on the detail on that. Actually, you know what? Let's speak about it right away since we are on the topic. So, over the course of last month, you've spent about 20 or so different transactions on Lyft and Uber, and one that I'm actually super curious about. That's called Waymo. What the heck is that?
Waymo's driverless Uber and Lyft.
Really?
Yeah, it's amazing. Like it's
safe?
Sure.
Okay, but I mean, it's giving you a pretty good deal.
Yeah, it's much cheaper.
Like
so,
how are we speaking? Is it like 20, 30% cheaper? I don't know. I've never used those.
I don't know percentages. I know it can be like $7 to $10 cheaper. So like, I'll take that. Instead of paying like 23 to 25, I'm paying 17.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's about 30% or so. Not too bad, huh?
Yeah.
No problem to report.
Sometimes the music's not great, but besides that, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, you're a good stress tester because you've taken them 15 times last month. Gosh. My friend, how much do you think last month I calculated? Do you spend on transportation?
Probably like another $500 to $600.
Yes. I mean, at least you spot on. You're good. You know it. 587. Gosh, dude. In 10 months, that's a car.
But that doesn't count for insurance.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's where I was going to bring. We're going to have to think about that. Although, maybe you don't need a car. Maybe you can go around through another mean of transportation. Let's think about this. But, that brings your transportation expense at 34% of your income. We like it to be below 15. So, you're 2 times on house, 2 times on cars. So that's expensive. But what I'd like to see, though, is on your statement, I do not see any phone
No.
subscription.
That is the one thing that my parents still help me with, which is, I'm 33 years old, so maybe they shouldn't. But I'm not going to question it.
I'm not going to question it. No, that's fine. And moving on, I'm also seeing a few subscriptions, but nothing too crazy to the amount of about $19. The Spotify, what is the one at $5.99 that I'm seeing?
World of Wonder.
Oh yeah, that's the drag race competition.
Yeah. I gotta get my RuPaul in.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to food, I must say I'm a little bit disappointed, to be honest with you, because I see that you're relying on EBT, which is giving you how much?
Like $290 something.
$290. And how do you spend your money on food?
I get it delivered from Whole Foods.
Ay. But you're making it happen, though.
Yeah. I mean, it works, and there isn't really a grocery store near me, and I don't have a car.
Yeah.
So getting it delivered is really like the best option.
So I have a question for you. You're spending $600 on transportation. Your income is primarily unemployment, a little bit of side hustles here and there. What justifies you to spend money like crazy when I'm not seeing the income for it?
I'm delusional. I don't know.
Well, tell me more. What does that mean? I don't know.
I just believe that like things will kind of always work out. I don't know how.
But what do you spend your left on? Because you're not making money. So where are you going? Are you going to what? Hold on, let me tell you. The Fiesta Cantina for $20, or the what is this? The Luna Grill for $22.
I go to hang out with friends. And I do have friends that'll pay for the things that we do. Or we'll like pregame at their place and just go dancing or whatever it is. It's mostly like.
So how do you
hanging out with
spend your
friends.
days? What do you do during your days?
I'm a pre-law student, so I spend a lot of time doing that. I also go to the gym a lot, and my gym also has a spa, so I spend a lot of time at the spa.
Gosh, dude. So wait, that's gonna be fun. Actually, let's speak about your spa venture, because I don't know how you can afford it with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different credit card debt. Okay, look, we need to see them. Let's attack that, because there is some juice right here, guys. For our spa member, let me go from the lowest to the highest. Are you ready? We need to go from that. Open Bank 156. Okay. Community Bank 589. Then we start to rock and roll. Open Bank again 649. Capital One 4,180. American Express 4,946. I'm kind of summarizing some of the greatest ones. American Express again 13,292. That brings your total amount of credit card debt. Oh, and I forgot there is also a collection, to over $25,000.
Okay, but is it true that after 7 years of not paying them, they just go away? No.
Well, I mean, you've been paying some of them, because you're not.
I have been paying some of them.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, because you've done that, you're screwed.
Great.
Because because if you continue to pay them, even if it's minimum payment, you still have an active status.
Right.
So they will never fall into collection.
Oh, okay.
As long as you're paying minimum payments, you never hit collection. One is actually hitting collection here for Fifth Avenue. Right. So you're getting those departmental credit cards, which we all know is the worst of the worst. If you have a Forever 21, a Victoria's Secrets, a Home Goods, or any of that BS, you know that I hate those. What the hell do you have a Fifth Avenue credit card?
Well, that was because I was working at Saks Fifth Avenue, and they only give you the employee discount through their credit card. So they force you to open up a credit card.
I mean, they force you if you buy there. What do you buy at Saks? At Fifth Avenue.
Shoes.
Yeah, right. On credit card that you're still owning money on. What the heck, man?
It was Prada.
You're wearing Prada, but you can't even afford it. 30% interest. You want to know the amount of interest that you're spending on your credit cards right now?
Not really.
$569 a month.
That's a lot.
How many pair of shoes is that, my friend? $569.
Yeah.
Spend on interest on your $26,000 of credit card debt. How do you feel about it?
Not great.
How did you let that accumulate over time?
I just didn't think about it.
So you just like spend your like ciao bella?
Pretty much like somebody else's problem, but it's actually my problem.
Friend, some of them are not as old as I would have liked them to be.
No.
So you still have the mindset of the Disney host a little bit, don't you?
After the pandemic, I came out of it in a much better spot. Mm-hmm. And then I got into a relationship where he was making really good money. But I was trying to, again, live up to a lifestyle that I couldn't afford the same way that he was. And
using credit card debt.
Exactly.
Today, what's your relationship status?
Single, thank God.
Yeah, well, at least you're saving money on that front with how you've been spending your money. Gosh. Looking at your credit score right now, you're showing at 596. And that's right. Some of the cards, you've not been paying them. So your payment history is at 77%, which is slightly impacting you. But man, I'm still seeing some available balance on those cards. What that means is you still have credit that you can pull from them. What are your thoughts around it? Because, like, I mean, right now, I'm going to be straightforward with you. Looking at how much you spend and how much you make, you're spending more than you make.
Exactly.
So who is taking the hit? It's those credit cards.
Right.
30% interest. So tell me what's the solution here? Because, oh, hold on, I forgot to mention too, not only you have credit cards, but you also have 15 different student loans. Some of them in the thousands. I mean, to note the top three, 8,605, 6,794, 5,307. Together, 62,237.
And counting.
You still want to get that student abroad trip in the Barcelona of the world? How much does that cost?
The study abroad trip is $20,897, I think.
For how long?
9 weeks.
Does that include your day-to-day living?
Yes, but not all meals. So I have to get like some lunches and some dinners.
How are you going to afford that?
I'm doing a crowdfunding campaign.
Okay, crowdfunding. I mean, I'm generous. How has it been going?
I've raised 11% of my goal so far.
So 2,000 or so?
$2,015 as of yesterday.
How?
Posting about it on social media.
And you say, hey, I'm kind of like broke. I want to go abroad. Help me out. How do you convince someone to give you money?
You can find me on fundmytravel.com under Jose Fernando Picado. And if you feel so inclined, please donate.
But so you've been able, is it like from strangers or mostly family?
Friends, family, strangers. I post it on TikTok, Instagram, and now Redbook. And I just keep asking. People, thankfully, keep donating. I'm incredibly grateful for it. I've never been to Europe, so I think like that would be
Is that the right time though when you think about it? Like you have...
I'm not getting any younger.
Yeah, but you have $87,000 of debt and you want to chill in the playa of Barcelona.
No, I want to learn in Barcelona.
Yeah, right. Is it necessary though to have that trip? Or is it kind of like do you have to have it?
Do I have to have it? No, of course not. But I do think it would help me get a better understanding of the law because you do a lot of work at different law firms and I want to do international work.
When is that happening?
It starts May 31st.
So if you cannot pull it, how are you going to do it?
We'll see. It always works out. I don't know. I'll figure it out.
It's always work out because you have $26,000 of debt. Well, looking at some of the rest of your statement, though, what's nice to see is, yes, you are spending a little bit of money, on things that maybe you shouldn't, like the Uber Eats for $62.
Sometimes I get lazy.
Yeah. What are we going to do?
Well, I'm hoping to gain more education so that I can get a different career path and actually get a job that can support my lifestyle. And in the meantime, just do more side hustles.
How long do you have till you start making money from it?
I think I could start doing internships and paralegal stuff in like 2 years. So I have to find a way to make it 2 years.
Well, I wish you were actually doing a crowdfunding campaign to help you pay your credit cards.
I'm sure my debtors would like that as well.
What are we going to do? Because right now, if we look at your net worth, ready for it? Assets,
Wait on me.
645. Liabilities or debt, 87,148. So you're worth negative 86,503. Jokes apart, when I tell you this number, though, how do you feel? Like think about it yourself for a second.
I feel like it's a challenge I want to take on. Like, okay, yeah, I know I've taken on a lot of debt, but I did that knowing that I would be successful eventually. I just didn't know. I thought it was going to be one way. That hasn't panned out exactly how I wanted. So now I have to pivot and figure out other ways of making that happen. I haven't figured that out exactly quite yet. And that's one of the reasons that I'm here, is to gain more information on like how to just do better. And I've never actually looked at the numbers. So like I didn't know all the statistics.
Let's see how we're going to find a solution as we transition together into our next segment, which is the money case. Together, we've discussed the fact that you're making $1,600 per month. But in your life, you're spending on whole food deliveries, on Uber Eats, on the spa, Luna Grills, subscriptions, left and right. Right now, you're losing money every month. Despite being frugal with EBT and so on, you're not going crazy neither. But looking at purely statistics and math, last month, you spent $2,132. You've made $1,667. What does it mean? It means that right now, on a monthly basis, while still being decently frugal in a way, you're losing $464. Oof. $464 underwater on a monthly basis with your current spend. But come on, like, think about it for a second. And a lot of which is going towards your interest. That is at $540 plus. I'm not even accounting for any payback or minimum payment on it. Just your regular life. $469. It's impossible. Let's see how we find a solution to it. So for my solution, we're going to have two paths. One that I prefer, and the other one, we'll see how you think about it. So right now, to just purely gather to your needs, assuming about $200 of transportation, no minimum payment back on your cards, you need about $1,613 per month.
Okay.
That's assuming you're not paying back any forms of debt. That is 94% of your income.
Right.
We like it to be below 50. That's just assuming survival.
Yeah.
Nothing. No Luna, no spa, none of that BS. Zero. You're literally opening the window of your house, eating rice and beans, and basta. That's not possible, right?
No.
Or at least, it is, because you're going to have to live through it in some ways.
Okay.
But what does that mean? That means on the side, well, you have zero. Zero to save, zero to invest, zero to put aside.
Right.
So as I mentioned, you have two paths. But both paths has similarities. The first one is you need to stop the BS. When I say stop the BS, when I refer to as the Lyft, the $568 on Lyft, this is crap. This is shit. Are you kidding me? So what I would recommend for you to do when it comes to transportation is rely on public transportation, but you're going to say, hey, it's not convenient, right? Nobody wants to take that. But do it in a better and smarter way. What I want you to buy is an electric scooter. I'm not kidding. That's going to cost you at Costco $349, where you can go 2 miles. That brings you to your closest destination. Yes, it's going to lengthen your time, but what are you spending your time on today? You're spending 20 hours a week or so on studying. You're taking unemployment and you're going on a little bit of side jobs, but peanuts, zero. So your time is worth money, but it's not worth enough for you to go and pick up a Lyft at $30 a day and $600 a month. On top of that, I want you to stop the whole food BS. Unfortunately, except although you've been able to make it work at $260, I'm actually impressed, assuming that you can maintain that. It's a fair budget. Usually, I like to give about $300 to $400. Look, you're making it work for $260, I will accept that. Number two, I must tell you, and that is very disappointing to hear, but I would recommend that you don't go yet in that student trip. Financially, it would be a bomb. Why? Because one of the options that I have for you is to file for bankruptcy, which refers to Chapter 7. What that does, it's going to cost you about $2,000 or so going through a lawyer. It's going to take about 6 months. And through that time, they're going to look at all your accounts and I'm going to assess whether or not you can actually file for bankruptcy. You have a high probability For chapter 7, the range is between 20 and 50,000. When it comes to your credit card debt, you're at 26. So you have a pretty high probability, given your financial situation, that you will be successful in it. What does that mean?
Yeah.
In that in 6 months, you would be debt-free. Other than your student loan, because they're federal, they cannot waive those.
Right.
But the complication of it is that for at least 7 years, your credit score is tanked. Forget about home ownership, Forget about different aspects where your credit score is important. But in some ways, I can tell you, it's far from being a death sentence. Many people have taken advantage of it. It's one of the systems. But that, my friend, in a way, is the easy way out.
Okay.
But for you to accomplish that, you have no assets, so they're not going to collect anything from you.
Right.
But it's going to force your mind to be in a cash environment where you would only be spending money that you have, because you're no longer going to have access to credit. Your credit cards are going to close down. And it's going to come as a derogatory mark on your credit score. As I mentioned previously, the study abroad in either options is not applicable.
Not even with the crowdfunding?
I wouldn't, because how are you going to afford your day-to-day living while you're there, not being able to make an income for 6-9 weeks?
Right.
And on top of that, you have to think that you're coming back to the United States either bankrupt, because you would have filed for bankruptcy, or with $26,000 of debt. You can't go through that, because you're not going to have access to debt after you file for bankruptcy. And the other path is for you to go and pay back that debt. How would you go about that? My recommendation is most probably to not stay in Los Angeles right now. You have the option, as I believe, to go back and live with your parents in Niagara Falls, New York. This will give you the chance not only to have access to transportation there, so you're saving quite a bit of money, to surround yourself with people that are actually hopefully going to give you the right momentum, because as far as I know, my friend, you're still in the same mindset that you were 10 years ago. So this is awful to say, but maybe you're just not surrounding yourself with the right people that's going to bring you forward. They might pay you for stuff like this, but this is short term. You're already so far behind financially. I'm sorry, I have to say it this way. You're far behind in life, financially.
Yeah.
0 for retirement, full of credit card debt, massive amount of student loans, and no diploma. So we have to completely stop the Titanic. So if you decide to not go the bankruptcy route, I would move to Niagara Falls, minimize as much as you can your spending, find a job where you can potentially leverage the transportation of your parents, target that credit as fast as humanly possible, pay that down, focus for 2 to 3 years on your study as fast as you can, so that when you graduate from it, you have a job that is going to pay you normally a pretty good amount, because you're finding into a place that has actually a good ROI. On top of that, you would be credit card free. You would have a good credit score. And you would have also established the right mindset and behavior with regards to money that you didn't have at the time when you were 22. Because what you're missing on right now is not the student abroad, my friend. It's the tens of thousands of dollars that you've not been able to put aside and invest that are giving you crazy amount of payback. If only last year you had $10,000 saved up and you've invested into the stock market, into the S&P 500, you would have made $2,500 profit. You're missing on those opportunities. And the time for you to go and study abroad, yes, is beneficial, but it is not the right timing. And the crowdfunding, I like it. I understand it. But that's not where your priority should be. You would be 21, 22, 23, maybe 24 with that study abroad mindset. I would say, give it the experience. I think it's going to happen, but not right now. It is definitely not the route I would go. So you can go the payback period, or you can go the bankruptcy route. because you've been able to manage your expenses in a way that you know how you can be frugal. Because you're living in LA with $22,000, although you're stacking a credit card debt. I think that you can pay back your debt in about a year and a half. Your credit card debt. That's assuming you finally put your mindset towards a trajectory that's going to be beneficial for you in the long term. But my concern is that with all the crowdfunding and the social media aspect and the LA lifestyle, you've been in it in 10 years. Time to change path and give yourself the chance to look at something different because it has not worked, at least financially. When I provide you with both options, what is your train of thoughts?
It's a hard pill to swallow. One that I've known for a long time, but haven't really wanted to accept. I don't see myself doing the bankruptcy option. And then the reality of moving back home is something I haven't fully processed and digested. I did, going into this year, think that this would be like my last year in LA, just because it was getting to a point where like it's not sustainable.
I mean, you're losing $500 a month.
Right.
What's the time? I'm telling you, what is the time? Because you're almost maxed out on your credit cards.
Right.
So with losing that, plus paying interest, you have mathematically looking at your credit utilization and credit availability in front of you, 3-4 months.
Right.
And on top of that, unemployment is going to stop in 3-4 months as well. So you're going to be forced into employment, into one of the most expensive cities on earth, with no means of transportation, with a student debt. You're sunk.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that I would ride out those 3 to 4 months, do the study abroad, move home after that.
I think it's delayed pain.
Yeah.
Man, I mean,
Like that was like a thought that I've had for like a couple weeks now.
but you're not going to be able to pay that student loan. That you're not going to be able to pay that student abroad because it's not $20,000. It's probably $32,000 or so.
Right.
Right. That's coming from nowhere. That is coming from credit card debt that you don't have access to. You no longer have the credit limits on those.
No. I have about like $10,000 in grants that I'm getting.
Okay, so
But I
that's
still need the 20.
20.
I've raised 2 doing the crowdfunding.
I understand what you're saying, but man, time to grind. You're looking, I feel like you've all been constantly looking for that gratification aspect at some front, that fucking lock yourself down and just said, I don't care. I'm just going to make it happen. Just delay your gratification because that's the recipe for it. Delay your option to go abroad. I know it. I can sign it to paper. You are going to make it. But right now is not the time. It's not the time. It's just mathematically and financially, you've already exhausted so many of your options that you're at the tangent light where you can still get an exit from it. But I think the student abroad principle is the cherry on top that then becomes a disaster financially because it's difficult to justify in bankruptcy, oh, where was this spending coming from and so on, from freaking Spain in Barcelona at the cafe that you wanted to take a cocktail at. I know it's not what you're saying, but to the eye of a bankruptcy lawyer in bankruptcy, what the fuck is this guy doing? Is this a joke? So then what happens? Then you're on your own with $50,000 of debt. Going through again, you probably have $100,000 or $150,000 of student loans in front of you. So you end at 35 years old with, $300,000 of debt in a job that's going to pay you $75,000, $80,000 when you exit. You're fucked. So you're at the tangent line when any micro decision is going to have a growing effect. If you want to have access to a certain standing of life, you have to make concessions. Today, this concession is stop the BS, stop the left, get into a position where you're saving money, you can work, you can study, lock yourself down for 2-3 years, make it happen, and then exit and allow yourself to live this life. Don't get the reward before the effort. I think it's too easy and you've been paying for it, and today you're at the breaking line of unrecoverable, because then you're fucked. And then it's difficult to justify with the lawyers bankruptcy. Oh, well, what was this guy doing? Oh, he was in freaking Barcelona. Get the hell out of this guy. Fuck him. See him in 2 years. Then you're stacking on crazy amount of credit card debt and interest that are draining you.
One more rebuttal. I come from an experience where jobs can change your circumstances overnight. So if in those 3 to 4 months that I have, something like that were to happen.
My friend, it's been 10 years. That's the thing.
But through that time, I've had those opportunities that have happened.
Right, but it's what we refer to as the dreamer's disease.
Okay.
I've had someone that has been waiting for that for 30 years. She moved to LA at 20. At 51 years old, she woke up, couldn't see from one eye, multiple psoriasis. She's been waiting for that dream to come. And now she's 60 years old, on her own, completely, like this, because she didn't have any savings. She's been waiting for that dream job, and she never was able to pull it off.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Right? You've been waiting. You've given yourself the chance. Doesn't mean that you can't come to it. But for one, lock yourself out of this for a moment. Focus on things that are going to be proving to be successful, and then consider going back to it.
Okay.
I'm not saying never.
No, I understand that.
But I'm saying take action right now. You have cards. You literally have cards.
Okay.
The study abroad, we all know how that shit works. I mean, I've done it. I know how that shit works.
I don't know how it works. I haven't done it.
Well, it's a bunch of vacation 2.0 and where you discover the town. And friend, I doubt that you're going to be eating beans and rice when you're in Barcelona. You're going to want to enjoy life and so on. But that comes at a crazy cost. What's going to cost you $10 there is actually going to cost you $30 with all the interest and everything that stacks up. So do you want to go there and be a pigeon that can't experience anything because you don't have a dime? Or wait, put it on the side, say, okay, that's fine, I'm taking the hit today, but actually when I'm going to go there, I'm going to have the chance to truly experience it. That's also a way to look at things. Do you want to actually
I can get behind that.
Truly experience it? Or do you want to be like, oh, hey, you want to come out? Sorry.
Right.
I have $60,000 of credit card and $100,000 that's waiting for me at home. Sorry, I can't take a coffee in Barcelona. Fuck that. You're going to ruin yourself the chance to experience it.
Yeah.
So make the right decision, my friend, okay? I want to follow up with you. I have your case. Let's, convince me that you can actually pull it off.
I have a lot to think over.
All right.
Yeah.
Any final words?
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I have never really had the hard truth like that thrown at me. My parents have tried, but I just don't listen. But you're just doing this because you're like trying to help. And so I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Well,
thank you.
I wish you great luck, my friend. We'll be following with you, as I mentioned. Guys, if you enjoy this type of content, I invite you to like and subscribe. Until then, I see you guys next time. À bientôt. Hello, Fernando. This is Romain. How are you doing, mate?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. I know it's been a little bit since we've chatted. I know that the trip is coming soon. What's going on here?
So I'm not going to do the trip.
Awesome. All right. Yes. I know it hurts, but it's good long term. Okay. What else?
I got a job at a cafe. Working as a cook and as a barista. I've been working a good amount on the weekends mostly, but it's bringing in some money, so that's good.
We had two paths. Either one that it was going to be about paying back some of the debt, especially the credit card, the expensive one, and the other one was the bankruptcy route. How did everything go on that?
I'm not going to do the bankruptcy route, so I'm looking to see how I can do the other option. Still a work in progress. I'm seeing what I can do with the money that's coming in.
I see. What's the extra compensation that you're getting from that new job? Because last time we met, you were making about $1,600 a month. Where are you at right now?
It's about like another $1,000 a month or so.
Nice.
So it's not like, buku bucks, but it's enough to like help out with things.
Have you been able to like work on your transportation expenses? Because you remember like you were spending over $500 on that per month. Have you been able to do a little bit better on that?
I have. I've cut down significantly on like hanging out and like going out with friends as much. So I've been able to cut that down by like maybe half.
Very nice.
A work in progress. There's still more that I can cut back on for sure.
No, and that's fair. That's okay. You still need to live. Like, that's fine. As long as, you have eyes on it and you feel like you are intentional with how you spend that money, I'm okay with that. It's about being mindful and balance the equation pretty much. I mean, last time we met, you were losing about $450 a month. And now with the new job, at least you're hopefully not going to be losing so much money on that. Have you been able to maybe work something with debt consolidation, potentially have a lower interest rates to pay on those cards?
I've been talking to like my parents about like what we can do about that. They're kind of looking to see what they can do to help, and then I was going to reach out and see what the creditors say.
Yeah, there is always negotiation on that front, by the way. You can subcontract, they may take a fee, but you can always yourself negotiate with them and put yourself in a position of like some form of payment plans. They're looking for their money, so they rather want to negotiate with you instead of negotiating with debt collections and so on.
Yes, and my credit score has gone up because I have made like some payments and stuff. It was at 580 something before, but it did go up to the 600s, which is better than what it was.
Okay. Have you had any big hits, like for your career-wise?
I've had some big auditions for projects that I'm not allowed to publicly say because I signed an NDA about them. But I'm still in the game. I'm talking to new representation to see if they're going to take me on and bring me in. I just had some directors reach out to me about another project, and I have a film that's having like a private premiere at the end of the month. So hopefully that'll start gaining some traction so I can make some money in residuals once that gets a distributor.
Okay, good. Look, I'm very happy for you that you decided to delay gratification on that trip. I think that's good. You found a job. You're not moving yet back with your parents, but you're continuing your studies. There is a path, man. There is a path. So I'm glad to hear that you've been able to make the right choice, my friend. It's good. We're moving forward. It's taking a little bit of time, but we're moving forward.
I agree. And I appreciate all of the advice that you've given me and the guidance and the path that you pretty bluntly laid out for me.
Well, it was a pleasure having you on the show, Fernando. Good luck with everything. Take care, my friend.
You too.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.